Welcome to MOJO Shop Guitar, baby. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Looks like we got a beautiful one here to work on today. Yep. It's a nice Gibson Hummingbird, 12 string. Right there. Beautiful guitar. Doing real good. Oop, just dumped my water over. Alright. And, you know, it's 12 string and he needs it, he says not playable. And I tend to agree with that because it's hitting the frets all over the place. So we're gonna, first of all, let me get the pad out for this thing here. You know, this is one of those. Well, you need a pad underneath it. Alright, I've got it properly supported. We're going to go through this one, and we're going to take the strings off of it. We're going to level the fretboard, and we're going to go over everything, make sure everything is all nice and tight, and you know, we'll tighten up all the everything, and lube everything. We'll lube the tuners and stuff like that, you know. You see it's got a lot of tuners on it, you know, and you know, it looks like they're doing pretty good there, and we're gonna get a nice back. And the back is looking pretty good too, you know. But it looks like it could use a little cleanup, just a little bit, and well, that's what we're gonna do. The top looks really nice. It doesn't look like the top is lifted or anything like that. I'll turn over that way just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the strings off of this and get started on doing the neck and just kind of cleaning it up and checking everything out. So I'll be back in a little bit when I get the strings off of it. Alrighty, I went overhead and got the strings off of it, and I went ahead and tightened up the tuners and stuff like that, and I also adjusted the screws on there. See, this guitar belongs to a guy named Steven, and his hands don't work as good as they used to, you know. He gets older and his hands just, you know, it's a little bit harder for him to play now. So we're trying to make things as easy as possible. And one of the things that you have to do with the guitar is tune it. You know, he's got 12 tuners here. So if you have one tuner that's a little bit hard to turn, you know, it can make it difficult or maybe even painful to tune your guitar. So I made sure that I got all the tuners to turn so that they turn with the same amount of effort. So they're all nice and easy to turn, but not real loose, you know what I mean? But they all turn with the same amount of effort, you know. In fact, I'm going over them right now, and I felt that one of them felt a little bit too tight. Anyway, so we got that all taken care of. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide down here a little bit like this. We get the neck more in the picture here. I might as well just tighten in a little bit on the neck. All right, just about a little bit tight. All right, so this neck has had a few been played for a while. You know, this is an older guitar, and it's got some fret sprout on it and stuff like that. But it's got some nice wood. It's got some nice inlays on it and stuff. And if the frets don't feel like they have any, like there's real low wear on the frets and stuff, so that's a good thing. Sometimes 12 strings, you know, they're just not, they don't get played as much as regular guitars. So the fret sprout or the frets won't be as wore out as some other guitars. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to see if this is level. We want to get this fretboard nice and level. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this straight edge here, and you see I got notches on the other side. I used to use the notches, but not no more, because when you stick it on the notches, if you use the notches, you're leveling the wood. And I really want to know if there's any high or low frets across here. So I use the straight edge now. I don't use the other one anymore. And I take this little tiny feeler gauge, real thin, and just sit it right here. And first of all, I'm just going to kind of see if it rocks back and forth. Yeah, and I kind of suspected it would. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust this truss rod, and we're going to find our Allen Allen wrench, excuse me. Find the appropriate one. There we go. Okay, now we got a big hump in this thing, and that's why it wouldn't play, because it's got a big hump in the fretboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen the we're going to loosen the truss rod so that the fretboard will relax and go in a little bit and will flatten out. And we got quite a bit to go, so I'm going to give it probably a couple of good turns there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of help it a little bit like that. You know, we'll just kind of lift it up and try to kind of persuade it to go the way we want it to. And it sounds like it's still rocking a little bit. And not rocking in a good way. Okay, so I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to keep adjusting this truss rod, and sometimes it takes a little while for the neck to respond. And these 12 strings can be a little bit more beefy of a neck and stuff like that, so we're waiting for it to respond. And when I get this all nice and flat and stuff like that, and I'll come back and I'll show you. Well, all right, I got the fretboard all level. We had to adjust the crap out of this truss rod, but we got it so that when I put this across here, it doesn't rock, not rocking back and forth, and the little feeler gauge does not go underneath. Well, it goes under a couple of spots, but that's what we're gonna get up mostly across there. And it tells me that I have a couple of low frets right in here. So what we're doing next is we're gonna take this marker here, and what I'm doing is I'm putting a black line on the on all the frets, and I'm gonna zoom in a little bit on that right there. Okay, so we're just taking this marker here and putting a line across there like that. And what I'm going to do is once I get all these covered, I'm going to take this leveling beam here that has a little bit of 600 paper on the top of it right there, and we're going to go across this like this until we take all that marker off of there, and then that way it'll tell us that we're perfectly level. And so we're going to do, I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in a second. All right, now that I've went over a couple of times with the leveling beam, I'm going to take my magnifying glass, and I'm just going to sort of look at the frets and see where I'm cutting, where I'm not. I'm not cutting anywhere along the bottom or in the middle here, nowhere, which means that I am very high. So what I got to do, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this truss rod just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to give it a little bit more of a hump. So we're going to just bring it up just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over that again and see if I made any difference. Now if it starts cutting right through here, I know that that's what I want to do. See, that black line tells me a lot. And I don't have to really do it a lot, see? And go a little bit, and I can see it starting to cut, so I'm going to go a little bit more with it. Just tighten it up just a little bit more. Maybe we'll even give it a little bit of friendly persuasion in the direction that it needs to go. Okay, we'll try that now. And what I'm doing is I'm staying on this first fret. I'm keeping the leveling beam on the first fret. I'm not moving it too much. See how much I'm just moving it back and forth a little bit. See, and then you can see it's starting to cut in there, but not a whole lot. So I'm going to give it just a little bit more truss rod right there, and we'll see how that does. Starting to cut a little bit. I'm going to check it one more time with my straight edge of my feeler gauge. See where we're at. We're not rocking. See, it should be hitting, should be sanding there. It's not wanting to go underneath there. So we're going to raise it up just a little bit more. Okay. Let me try that, and we'll see what that does now. Yep, I can see that's starting to cut. So I think what we're going to do is I think we're just going to leave it right here at this stage. Maybe we'll just go just a little tiny bit more. So you can't just go willy-nilly adjusting the truss rod. It has to be for a reason. Okay, so we're going to go like that, okay? And I think we're just going to leave it right there. Yep, that's starting to wear across all the top of them frets. So we're going to get things nice and level here. See, there's just a couple of spots that is still not coming through. But for the most part, we are cutting. For the most part, I'm removing all of the marker. So we're going to keep on going until we have removed all the marker. And see, I'm going back and forth like that. I'll go back and forth like this too, you know, back and forth. So I'm going to go continue doing this until we get it perfectly flat and everything is, all the markers off there. All right, I got this thing nice and flat all the way across there. We got no fret, we got no marker left on the frets. Nice and level. But what we did when we leveled it, you know, we sanded it across the top, and we flattened out the top of some of these frets. Is kind of flat now, and we don't want that. We want a nice little point on them. So what I'm going to do is I have this thing called a fret tool, a fret sharpening tool. I mean a fret file, and it's got 3 different settings on it. I don't know if you can see those. It's got 3 different settings on it for a small, medium, and then jumbo frets. And these have some small frets on them. So what I'm going to do is I use the small fret setting, and we're just going to kind of go over this, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over it like this. We're going to go over each one of these frets, and what that does is it takes that flatness off of it and puts us back to being a little bit of a point right across there, okay? And a lot of times I'll put some marker on here and do like that, do it with the marker on it so that I can see it has a little line on there, but after doing about a gazillion of these, I've learned to do it just by touch. So we file until it starts feeling like it's smooth, and then that's as far as I go. So I don't want to file off too much of the fret, you know, and this is really kind of hard to file off too much stuff. But when I get done with that, I'm gonna crown these all the way across here, all the way across the top, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little file here, this little tiny jeweler's file, and I'm gonna take it and take the sharpness off the end of these frets. Just kind of go over it with the fret file, or with this you know, little fret end file, and we're going to make that so it's nice and smooth across there, so you can't feel that anymore, so it's not sharp, so you don't feel like you're going to cut your fingers when you play it. Okay, we're going to do that, and then we're going to clean the fretboard, and we're going to polish the frets and stuff like that. We're going to do a few other things, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, I'm back, folks. We're making some good progress on this here guitar. What we did to it is, just a little recap, we leveled the frets, we crowned the frets. I just polished the frets with some steel wool. We polished the fretboard. We cleaned it with some alcohol to get all the old, you know, junk off of it and stuff, get it nice and clean. We did the fret ends so they're nice and smooth. Now you run your hand down there, no problem. And now it's time to condition this fretboard. See, I use good old-fashioned rubbing alcohol to clean the fretboard. Now I try to keep the rubbing alcohol off of the body and stuff like that, you know, because sometimes I don't like it. But we clean this up real good. And the reason I use alcohol is because it dries fast and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't sink in and get everything real wet. And for the same reason, I like the coconut oil, because the coconut oil is a solid at room temperature. As you can see, just like right there, it's a solid. And what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of this on my finger, and as soon as it hits my finger, it starts to melt a little bit, and we'll put it on the fretboard here. We'll just smear some of that on there, and the heat from my finger will melt some of this down just a little bit. It'll sink into the wood, and man, this wood is dry. You see, it's just soaking up that coconut oil. Probably never been conditioned. Probably never been conditioned. In fact, he said it hasn't had a setup since he bought it. So, you know, it's probably about time for that stuff. And a little bit, you know, it gets dried out. Fretboard, you gotta put some stuff on it every once in a while. Really get dried off, then it starts to, like, you know, your fingers start digging into it a lot. It gets kind of brittle, I guess you could say, and dry, and whoops. All right. It is just taking it up right there, real good. So what we do is make sure we get it real good and covered. And what I'll do is I'll get a nice healthy coat on there, you know. Not real heavy, not real heavy. But see, the longer I got my finger off this, and you know, it's a little bit cool in the room right now too. So this stuff is going to kind of harden up a little bit. It's going to get back to being, you know, solid at room temperature. And that's when I'm going to come along and wipe it off. So what we're doing now is I'm getting it warmed up with my finger, and I'm rubbing it into the wood real good. Not trying to pack it into the underneath the frets or anything. That's why I'm going with the same way as the fret. I'm not going like this because that'll pack it into the fret. I don't want to do that. I just want to get it on the wood. And that's what we're doing. And this way I can feel if it's smooth, if there's anything that's funny or anything like that. We're just going to get some of that right on there. Okay. Now I'm going to let that set for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Oh, and I'm going to put a little bit on our bridge down here. Our bridge is pretty dry too, so I'm going to stick a little bit of that on there. This is the pickup wire that's sticking out through there. It's popping up because the bridge or the saddle came out of the bridge here. And I'm trying not to get it down in the holes or anything like that, but I am trying to get it on this part. And anyway, I'm just going to get a little bit of this on there, let that soak in, because it looks like it needs it. And it's dry, it's wood. So when all the stuff is all, I've wiped it all off, and you know we're all set in this department, I'll be back. All right. I got this thing all nice and hydrated in there. It feels so good. And you know, one thing that I kind of like to do is I kind of like to, after I put the coconut oil on it, I kind of just like to rub my finger over each one of these frets just like that. And you can see it sort of shines it up a little bit for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it just preheats that coconut oil a little bit or something. But it seems to make a difference. Okay? I'll do the same thing down there. Just rub it a little bit. You know, it seems to help. Okay, maybe give it a little wipe down. Okay, and you can see I wiped down the front of it too. You can see how nice and shiny that looks. And what I do is I have this stuff. It's just, I don't want to mess up nobody's finish on their guitar. So I use things that I know aren't going to hurt anything. And, well, I use some of this good old turtle wax, wax and dry. It's just a spray-on wax. And, man, it smells really nice. That's one thing that's nice. So when you open up your case, your guitar smells nice, but it really does put a nice shine on things. So I'm going to do the back of this guitar here. What I do is I just shake it up a little bit and I squirt some on there. Okay, squirt it all over. Okay, and then I just kind of take my hand and wipe it around, and that way I can kind of feel if there's any schmutz on it. You know, if there's any stuff that's, you know, any junk or garbage or anything like that. And it kind of works some of that stuff loose, you know, so I don't wipe it down and then I still got something there that's going, here, that's still sticky, you know, or something like that. So it gives me a chance to kind of feel what's going on here and get it just distributed out real nice and just sort of worked into the wood a little bit, you know. And I'll even put a little bit on the sides here, boom, 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 around that side, working in over there too, you know, all the way around the side. And this stuff drips pretty good, so that's why I try to get it so it's, I rub it around so it's not just dripping all over the place. Okay, so I got a little bit of that all over the place there, and then we're just going to take a good old towel and just sort of wipe it off. You know, get it all the way around the outside there. And that. See, we'll just keep on polishing until it's nice and smooth and you can feel it and you can see it. And then I'm just going to stand it up here and we'll get right around, wipe around it. Real good. Woo, dog. We'll wipe the front again. A little bit right onto the front. Get that back. It's nice looking. And the front. Well, pan looks good too. And if you were sitting here looking at it like I am, you'd think it'd even look better. Okay, so we got that. Now we got everything wiped down. You know, we're in good shape here, okay? We got the fretboard all set. I got the the tuner's all nice and tight and everything working good on that, and they're all turning the same amount of turns. We got the fretboard all straightened around. We've done just about everything we can to this to make it perfect, and I believe it is. We cleaned this all up. We conditioned the wood some. We got it so that it's smelling good, it's looking good, it's working, and we're gonna try and make sure it works good and everything too. We're gonna put the test it once we're done. But one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting it back together and put some strings on this. So I tell you what, I'm gonna take a small break in here and get things just a little bit more prepared, get things cleaned up, and I'll be back. All right, I got things cleaned up just a little bit around here. It's time to put some strings on this, and well, here's what we got to put on there. We got some Ernie balls, the 12 string, earthwood pickups, strings. They're gold pack, but you can't tell. And they're the light gauge, so that's what he wanted, the light gauge, and I can see why, because he has a little trouble with his hands and stuff, so we don't want to have the heavy strings on there. We're going to go ahead and cut these open. There we go. And we're going to proceed to put some strings on this thing. Okay. Alright, so we're going to start with our top end over here. And our first string is going to be a 26 right here. Nice little string. And we're basically just going to come on down to this end here. And we're going to if you can see this, I don't think you can. There we go. That was better to see. We got to see it down here. All right, maybe I'll widen out a little bit too if I can. There we go, just a little bit. Okay, and our first hole, we're going to stick our string down in there. We're going to make sure the slotted side of our pin goes right up against there. We're going to shove that down. Good, and then we're going to give that a good pull and bring it on down here. Okay, we'll give it a little bit of room. String up. And we're going to come around, up, put this string on. All right. And then we'll cut it off. Okay. You just want to cut it off real nice and tight to the post. That way it's not sticking out stabbing people or tearing up the inside of your case or your gig bag. Okay. Now that first string we put in there was just the little light string, the first little one. And the next string we're going to put on here is the big fat regular, like you have on a regular 6 string. Nice big fat 46 big fat E string. So we're going to put that on there. And when you put these on, you want to be careful not to, if you get a little knot in it, you don't want to kink the knot up and then ruin the string. All right, we're sticking that in there like that. And we put our pin in behind there, push it down, and pull it up as hard as you can. Measure off a little length there. Stick it through the eyelet. Bring it around. Wind her up. Get it wound up, cut it off, you're good to go. There we go. Alright, I'm going to proceed to finish this off, getting all these strings on there, and when I get them all on there, tightened up and stretched and all that stuff, tuned up, I'll be back. Well, folks, I got some strings on her, as you can see, and she's not sounding too bad. Let's give her a little whirl. I got it tuned up. I haven't really stretched the strings all that much, but we got it tuned up a little bit, It might be a little off. You know, I'm not the greatest 12-string guitar player in the world, or the greatest guitar player in the world for that matter of fact. But I think we got this one playing pretty good. We got nice low action on it. It's nice and light strings. We had to bust up this and take that bridge up just a little bit, and shim the bridge just a little bit. But other than that, we're going to go through and we are going to stretch the strings a little bit more. I'm stretch the strings a little bit more. Get do a couple little things, and this will be done. And you know what? It's another successful build, or not build, but you know, it's a successful job. You know, it turned out real nice. It wasn't too bad to take care of. It's a nice quality guitar. It's got a real good sound to it, and we're gonna get the string stretched a little bit more so it's a little bit more stays in tune. We're gonna check it out on the amp, make sure that it's playing just the way it's supposed to. Everything's working in the controls. But I want to check the truss rod too. I want to check the truss rod to make sure I got some relief in it, because I might not have enough relief. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. I got a couple other things to check. No, I'm not done. Well, people. I got this all done. And man, you know, I've never really played a 12-string guitar before, you know. But man, I think I'm gonna get me one, because man, this thing is just it's nice, you know. So nice and smooth. Just rings out. That's the way it's supposed to sound. Nothing sounds sweeter, does it? There we are. Very beautiful. But you know what? I think that Steven is going to like this one. You know, and I think it's going to be easy for him to play. And that's what makes, you know, it makes things nice for me. Is that I can give somebody back the joy of playing. And this is a nice guitar, and well, it should be played, and he should enjoy it. And I think that he really is going to enjoy it, you know. And, well, I'm going to call this one another successful build for MOJO Shop Guitar. Baby! Thank you very much. Thank you for watching MOJO Shop Guitar.